Hi, I'm Gwen H., and I am here to talk about growing up when I had was sexually abused by a family member, and these are the things that I have learned from in investigating the family system that I grew up in. So, and I put it into a PowerPoint. It's pretty packed full, but I'll see if I can make sense of it out of it as I'm going along. All right? Okay. Okay. So, you know, So this is my family system when I was growing up, and this is how it was. I had an older sister, an older brother, me, and then my little sister. And my mom was the one that was the provider. She went out and worked. She didn't wear like a business suit though. She worked in shipping and receiving at a hospital. And my dad was a stay-at-home caregiver. And as much fun as he wasn't really very organized, and he didn't know how to like run a household. And it was, I don't remember, but I'm thinking it was probably pretty chaotic. Um, so moving right along here, I had problems with wetting the bed and snoring when I was growing up. And I don't really know how long I did it, but it was enough to leave a lasting memory on me that I was not a reliable child to be what's the word I want? Easy maintenance. What I was taught was that I was not easy maintenance, and I could not control my bodily functions. So I grew up, you know, being ashamed of these things because I wasn't really my mom that took care of these things, and my dad didn't do it either. So it fell to my older sister, which I'm sure she was very angry about herself. And not her fault that she was in that position in the family, and it just kind of turned out that way. So moving on, in this kind of a family dynamic, I just wanted to point out that girls learn about themselves primarily through response, not instruction. We learn by how people respond to what we do. And there might be instruction, but that's not how we learn. And when I was a bedwetter and, a snorer, I honestly, my sister, she would not just shake me awake, she would put a pillow over my face and smother me until I woke up because I couldn't breathe anymore. And she did that whenever I was snoring, and it woke her up. So I was not in control of my body functions, and my body caused stress. So I learned that I had to monitor myself, and I didn't know how to do that. And that if my body was quiet, I was easier to love. And where it says down here, my needs are private. I couldn't talk to them to anybody. And I'm sure my sister probably, I don't know. I don't know how she handled it. I just know that she was not happy with it. Um, what happens to the child internally? When abuse is covered up, the child learns that pain must be swallowed. Speaking is dangerous. Needs are inconvenient, and truth causes harm. Silence preserves connection. Oh, so I didn't grow up with a mom who was at home, and my dad didn't know how to handle these things, or he was oblivious to it. I don't know. He just was not able to um process those things and help me through it. So it's taught in I learned these things in micro reactions. But I turned to food because it was reliable, it was handy. I didn't have anywhere else to turn. So when I started eating, it helped me, I don't know, it helped me to calm the anxiety that I felt. And I felt more at ease because I felt like something was holding me. When I ate and I was full, somehow I felt like I was complete. I don't know how that works, but it did. Um, but it wasn't about appearance. I wasn't eating to look better. I was eating to stop feeling something that I didn't know how to manage. So the crucial insight here is body hatred is learned when a child's body repeatedly threatens family stability, and no adult can fully hold that reality. Well, my mom was working every day. My older sister, I'm sure she had to like do the laundry, and that made her upset. And as long as I kept doing it, it kept repeating, like, I don't know if it was every day or every 3 days or what. I have no idea. But since my mom wasn't there to contain it, and my dad didn't know how, nothing was ever done. And I was never taught that it was okay and normal or anything. So it was all my fault. So my body was communicating appropriately. The system I lived in, my family system, lacked the capacity to receive the messages my body was sending. So I learned control because it was safer than expression. I learned that my body wasn't welcome because it did things that everybody was upset about. So I really had to keep that a secret because I really had nowhere to turn to with it. And when I felt that way, this is my inner landscape. This has nothing to do with how other people told me I should feel. Didn't have anything to do with how people told me that Jesus is in charge. It has nothing to do with anyone except how I was feeling inside. And that feeling did not go away because I don't know where it came from and I don't know what was wrong with me. I just knew that there was something wrong with me. And I couldn't tell anybody because when I tried to tell anyone, they got angry. So when I grew up, I didn't understand intimacy because intimacy only existed if it didn't destabilize the system. So I couldn't even be honest or truthful. I couldn't expose vulnerability, and it would have to be something that didn't require adult containment, which I am not sure if I understand that. But this is how I did learn how to relate, is that I learned how to relate to people by connecting comes through usefulness. Closeness comes through caretaking. Being known is risky and being needed is safer than needing. So when I learned how to bake cookies, this was a way that I am in control of this attention. I can invite in ways that I can accept it. And it made people happy. So boy, I really went to town when it came to like baking because I could eat and they all ate too, and everybody was happy. But still, inside, I still had this secret that I can't accept attention where I'm protecting the family from the truth. I still have to be quiet. So the only way I know how to connect with others is if I'm serving and doing things to them. But I still am not able to be honest about what's really inside me. So, when I grew up in a patriarchal world, everyone I knew believed this is right and natural. This right here is that men are in charge and women have to follow them. And it doesn't matter if you don't agree with it. But to me, it felt wrong and unfair. There was an absence of mutuality. So I didn't know how to have like a relationship with mutual respect where we were equal. That was never modeled to me, and I didn't know how to, it was unfamiliar. This is the only model that I knew was this, but it felt wrong and unfair. So moving on, so just for intimacy, it never felt real. It wasn't dramatic, it was just thin. So I felt like I was bullied into um adhering to the social norms, but I hated the pressure to fulfill obligations. I never felt free to choose. I always felt forced into the box that society forced me into. Intimacy in this pattern, well, when I looked at this, uh, I could be emotionally present but bodily guarded. Yep. Generous but not surrendered? No, I was not generous and I was not surrendered. No way. No way, dude. And then connected but not deemed safe. Yeah, that's where I felt was right there. I could be connected, but I still had something in me that said, this is still not safe. There's something unsafe about it. So, because the body learned early, here, if I am open, needy, people will overwhelm me. Or I might need something no one can give. I'm afraid my needs are too much for anyone to bear. No one will ever meet my needs. So I decided it is better to have none. And this is not a defect. It is not a fear of intimacy. It is discernment learned too early. So imagine your 10-year-old has already decided they have to be guarded and always fearful of people at the age of 10, with never having learned the the way that people are supposed to relate to each other, which is easily and friendly and caringly and lovingly and patiently, always patiently, and never ever having to do anything you don't want to do. 100% free will, right? So, the quiet truth, I did not avoid intimacy. I adapted to intimacy that was never safe to complete. So, here's like an example that I had drawn out. I don't feel safe here. I never learned to trust anyone. And you can't force me to trust either. I only feel safe when I am in the driver's seat. I'm afraid of being hurt. I can't let myself be vulnerable. So all these things over here, they look great. Quiet, relieving, mutual, and ordinary, not effortful. More rest. This is frightening. I don't know what this is. It's foreign to me, anyway. And this is just kind of a synopsis of the pictures that I had in here. Well, the middle one there is me eating because that's the only way I ever learned how to feel normal because I grew up not knowing what normal was. And all these things that happened when I was young, they dogged me my whole life. And I did not know that's what was going on until I've worked the steps and worked the steps and worked the steps, and I've attended a couple of different 12-step programs. And I'm telling you, if you work in a food program, that is going to bring you to the very mm, the very pinpoint, I would call it, the pinpoint of the problem that makes you overeat. I don't know how else to phrase it. But that's been the truth for me, and this is my story specifically. So if anybody disagrees with anything in here, well, I don't care because this is not your story, it's mine. Go write your own. Okay, well, thanks for listening, and I'll just shut her down now. Okay, thanks a lot. Let me see if I can find out how to turn this off. Okay, alrighty, okay. Thanks for listening. Bye.